All right. Welcome everyone. Thank you for popping into the monthly info session about grants and what funding is out there. My name is Ryan Knight, and I'll be your guide for today. Let me just share my screen and put this in present. Make sure. Oh, let's go to the beginning. Sick. All right. So funding and grant opportunities. It is my pleasure to bring this to you each month because I do not consider myself an academic grant writer, but I do consider myself a grant hunter. So we're able to partner with Empowered4X to be able to bring this series to you. So thank you for joining. Real quick, please, if your name says iPhone or a phone number, try to change it to your name. That way, if you're asking a question and I'm calling on you, I'm able to say your name. Don't feel obligated to turn on your camera, but if you're asking a question, it's great to see face to face, but no pressure there. And feel free to raise your hand if you do have questions. Typically, we'll go through the presentation, but at certain segments, if you have a specific question about it, don't worry, you can raise your hand and I should be able to see it, or Shristi is there to let me know that somebody has a question. Also, of course, be respectful with different questions that you have and feel free to use the chat. As I mentioned, put your business in there or your nonprofit organization. And so let us know if it's a for-profit or a nonprofit. And as we're going through, if you can keep the mic muted, that works great. So one thing before we do get started, we do want to acknowledge the First Peoples and the traditional land. So I would like to begin by acknowledging the indigenous peoples of all the lands that we are on today. While we meet today on a virtual platform, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this land home. Please join me in a moment of reflection to acknowledge the effect of residential schools and colonialism on Indigenous families and communities, to consider how we are and can each, in our own way, try to move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Right, so thank you for that. A bit about Empowered4X. So Empowered4X is a physical location in Brampton, but broader than that, it's a collaborative community that offers consulting and training and business support and co-working spaces. So definitely feel free to visit us in Brampton at 16 Rutherford Road South, or if you just need a virtual address, there's different satellite locations in Ottawa, across the GTA, and of course, Brampton and Mississauga. So we're really committed to support entrepreneurs to be top performers, leaders, and exponentially amplify the difference that they make, well, that you make. So thank you for being here. Things that Empowered4X does offer, specific trainings include our social enterprise certification program, our mental health standards certification, the mental health supporting youth certification, and the Grant Hunter University, which I'm going to be talking a bit more about later, as a way that you can get access to a lot of our training on how to write grants in the Grant Hunter University. Other offerings, as I mentioned, we offer virtual addresses right now in Brampton, Scarborough, and Ottawa, also in Whitby and Mississauga. Our consulting services, so we try to put the ecosystem of support around your business, the core elements. So we help with your marketing, we can help with your grant writing, we can help with building out your technology, we can help with management and operations, and of course, we can help with creating a business plan for you. And one thing that our owner, Chris Beth Howie, does is the promotional live show BizGrams. So if you do want to get your message heard, touch base with the team so that you could possibly be a guest and be interviewed on BizGrams. All right. And one thing is that the spectrum we have within Powered 4X is going from DIY, doing things yourself, to modify, so making others do it for you. And that's really where you're building a team around your business. So on one side, do it yourself. We have these free sessions. Hopefully they're valuable enough that you can take action and pick some of the funding opportunities that are out there and at least get started. And then Grant Hunter University. So if you want a bit more training on how to write the grants, we have a full course online with Grant Hunter University. In between, we can help with funding summaries, so showing you what specific grants are out there that you qualify for. We can help you with your grant blueprint, so being able to have a template of the answers for your business or for your organization that most grants ask. You want to get it done ahead of time. So anytime that you see a grant, you can start from this template that you have about yourself instead of always starting from scratch. We do offer reviews. So if you want your business plan reviewed or a grant that you've written reviewed, we're able to support with that. And paid working group sessions. So this month, we're doing working group sessions about the My Main Street grant or the Youth Opportunities Fund grant. So as I talk about them today, if you do want to work as a group to get it done, I would definitely encourage you to join one of our grant writing working groups. And then there's just making others do it for you and getting it completely off your plate. So we have grant writers on staff and we do everything for you. Even with your business plan, we can get that done. So a lot of times you might be busy in the business working. We can come in as that team member. We call it that fund development team. So we can help you get the business plan done, which would help you get access to loans or investments, and also getting those grants written and submitted so that you don't have to take time from what you're doing. So as I mentioned, upcoming, we do have the working group. The next one is March the 26th, where I think March the 20th, I have to check if March the 20th as well, where we're going to be working on the My Main Street grant. So if you know people that have physical locations, they should definitely be applying for the My Main Street grant, and also the Youth Opportunities Fund. We're going to be touching on that one. So if you have a project that supports youth and you're working with youth in the community, you'd be able to apply for the Youth Opportunities Fund, and that's through the Ontario Trillium Foundation. So feel free to QR code snap this. We'll also put this link into the chat. Let me see if this works. That didn't work. All right. So we'll get that link for you and we'll put it in the chat. As always, we want to say thank you to our valued partners. For example, Alterna Savings. They've been a supporter, our financial institution supporter, really since the beginning. SETC, the social economy through social inclusion. Of course, Sheridan and their EDGE program, the Entrepreneurship Discovery and Growth Engine. Toronto Community Benefits Network, always been a fan of the work that they do with signing CBAs, those community benefits agreements for large construction projects that are happening in our city. ZSC, our business advisory partners, and Calabash, which is a cooperative of expert service providers that you can use after you get this funding to amplify your business. One Full Circle, which does great work in Quebec, it's based out of Montreal. So definitely if you know people in Quebec and close to Montreal, get them in touch with One Full Circle. And the Dream Legacy Foundation, which also runs the Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub, being able to, one, support tech entrepreneurs, and then two, support entrepreneurs in general across the ecosystem. So always wanted to say thank you to our valued partners. And a quick snapshot of the agenda. So you'll meet the facilitator, which is myself. We're going to do an overview of grants and loans that are available and double down on letting you know how we can help. Because one thing that we want after the end of these sessions is to make sure at least you have something that you can take action on. Whether you're doing it yourself, this is great information and you're able to take it and start your applications, or if you need support with just reviewing what you've done or doing it for you, we are here to help. So a bit about myself. Thank you for being here to listen. My name is Ryan Knight. I do consider myself a serial social entrepreneur. I run a social enterprise called Detailing Nights, which provides mobile waterless car cleaning. I also provide a social enterprise consultancy firm, which is Service Kingdom. So helping nonprofits start their own social enterprises, or helping for-profit companies create a social enterprise or start to operate more as a social enterprise. With Executives Power Up, we work with entrepreneurs to make their companies more investable by placing a C-suite team with them. So if you know about the CEOs or the CFOs, CTOs, that C-level administrative team helps to make a company more investable. So we put that team in place for an entrepreneur, typically when they're looking to raise money. And a secret project that I've been working on is Black Panther's Cage. So think of Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, but with Black founders pitching to Black investors. And of course, as you know, I'm the co-founder of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network and part of the Empowered Forex business crew. So really, we're here to help businesses to increase your capacity and to create an asset for generational wealth. And to touch on a little bit of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network, we started just over 6 years ago, and really because we saw a gap where entrepreneurs that were looking to scale, and myself included with Detailing Nights, we were looking to franchise across Canada and into the US. There weren't a lot of Black-focused business organizations that I could go to get that help. So we figured we'll create this entity ourselves. We brought 6 other entrepreneurs together, said, would we be able to create this organization that can sit down with an entrepreneur, figure out what stage they're in, and then help them create a strategy to grow their companies exponentially. And thus, ACBN was born. And over the past 6 years, we've been able to engage with close to 6,000 Black entrepreneurs. We're seeing a large percentage of them are female, almost 3/4 are female entrepreneurs, and about 91% are the business founders and the CEOs. But what we're most proud of is being able to connect with other Black-focused business organizations across Canada. Now, part of the Black entrepreneurship ecosystem, there's about 40 plus organizations that no matter what area of Canada you're in or what stage your business is in, there's somewhere for us to plug you into to help with your business. So that's really amplified the work that we do and made it more resourceful for entrepreneurs. Because one big thing, as I feel, is entrepreneurship is that tool that we can use to create economic empowerment. A lot of times, research has shown that it's 12 times easier to pull a person out of poverty by helping them start a business. And it's that much easier to build generational wealth by owning businesses and not just having employment. So using that entrepreneurship as a tool, this is where we do these convenings to make sure that we're able to share notes. We're able to encourage more people to start businesses, and we're able to encourage those that have businesses to get the support they need to grow. And a lot of times that support, the big thing is getting access to the funding, because without the money that we need, typically our business bank accounts are not matching our vision. So we have to figure out the actual funding that we need to execute these ideas that we have. So thus, we do our best with these sessions and of course the work that we do outside of just info sessions. And I'd like to put up this slide just to give you an idea of the breadth of the types of funding that's out there. And whether it's as low as $500 or as high as over $1 million, these are types of funding that we've been able to get. And it ranges across pitch competitions. We've gone to the city for grants, the province for grants, federal government for grants, or donations and sponsorships from corporations. So when I mentioned that I'm not an academic grant writer, and I do consider myself a grant hunter, is because anything and everything that we do qualify for, I make sure that we get those applications in. And even if you're not the best writer, just being consistent and persistent will allow you to duplicate things like this. Like all these funding is really flowing around us. It's time for us to position ourselves in front of that flow of money. And just in our short time, we've raised over $2 million. And again, not coming from a nonprofit background or a PhD, it's really just understanding what these funders are looking for, getting the application in, and then doing that over and over and over. And so one thing that beyond just us getting funding, what really makes us, I guess, wake up in the morning excited to get started is helping others get funding. So whether it's an organization like Rescue Youth International who's been doing great work in the Peel region, helping youth in the education and justice system, but not having the full bandwidth to take advantage of all the different opportunities that are out there. So us being able to work with them, helping them identify the investment readiness program, and then they were able to get $30,000 to operate their social enterprise. And then on the other side, so that was a nonprofit. On the other side, with a for-profit, a company like Custodia that didn't realize they were running a social enterprise, they were able to tap into the investment readiness program and get up to $100,000. And then with other organizations like New Life Project out in Ottawa, same thing with bandwidth issues, not having the time to sit down and research all the grants and research, what they qualify for, and then sit down and do the application and get it in and then follow up. We were able to work alongside them, and they were able to get $21,000 as funding. But beyond just helping people write the grant, we can also take a lead position. So being able to be a trustee for a grant that you might not qualify for, but us as a nonprofit qualifies for. So working with like a church to say like, hey, they're not able to apply directly, but they needed an organization to be their trustee. We were able to work with them and unlock the funding. And then also organizations being part of our applications. So with Youth Village, we were already doing an application to bolster our programming, but we're able to add in another organization so that they're able to be part of our application, so that they're not starting from scratch. They were able to get funding to now start their business on a better footing. So we can get really creative. And that's why I like doing these info sessions, because a lot of times people feel if they don't check all the boxes, or they talk themselves out of applying for grants. I always say, get creative, figure out what it takes to get it in, and then you're able to execute. So if we don't get it in, we never get the money. So let's not talk our own selves out of, like, we're declining ourselves the money that we should be getting. So 2 ways that we do that in getting ready. So one is the business plan blueprint. So that one is if you need help with getting access to loans and you need a business plan done, we support entrepreneurs with getting that initial business plan done. We call it the business plan blueprint. Today, we're talking more about the grant writing blueprint. And for example, with Detailing Nights, we had been applying to grants, and this was since like 2010. And every year we'd be declined. And even though we were already doing the work, like we were doing the youth entrepreneurship work, we're working with underestimated youth to teach them entrepreneurship. So we feel that we're a shoo-in for grants, but not quite writing it properly. And then finally, we brought on a grant writer to help fine-tune our application. We partnered with another nonprofit, and that is what unlocked our first big grant through the Youth Opportunities Fund. And that one was over $200,000. And it was because, you bring in people that understand how to write grants, you partner with an entity that has more track record than you, and then you're able to unlock it. A lot of times when we go after these grants on our own, especially if we're a for-profit, unless the grant is designed for for-profits, it's very difficult to unlock the other grants that are out there. So like I said, we have to get creative in how we partner and how we get support to make sure that our applications are strong. So that's what we do. We help people create that template for themselves, because that grant that we got, that was back in 2016, that then became the blueprint for all the other grants that we would write in the future, because it was successful. So we try to help people create a template up front, and then you can use that to apply for grants. So we typically do that through either one-to-one or part of our Grant Hunter University online course to help you finish your grant blueprint. So one thing we did want to show you is the business benefits finder. So let me pull this one up. So this is a government website, and let me see if I fix this. Yes. So the business benefits finder, and I'll put this into the chat just so you can follow along. All right. And the great thing about it is you're pretty much just filling in the blanks about what you're looking for. So if you're looking for grants, let's say loans, go through, can answer questions about how much money you're looking for, what's your main goals. So if you're trying to grow, trying to hire people, right? Go to the next one. And then wants to know more about your organization. So you can say we're in Southern Ontario. We do education. All right. And let's see, how many employees do we have? So we have 4. Oops. And our revenue, I think it's between here. We are incorporated. We are a nonprofit. So if you're a for-profit or nonprofit, you can click off there. And then who is in your entity. And then you can see, like, do you want to see all the programs or just the ones accepting? So I typically click all, just so you get an idea of all the different things that you qualify for. And then you want to keep track of when they open. So with the Business Benefits Finder, this is where, so with grants and funding, they have about 21 different ones. So let's see, it's the women's program, the MyTax, I believe that's when you're hiring recent graduates. This is for employers on reserves, funding to hire employees with disabilities. They have the Canada Ontario Job Grant. So this grant allows you to get up to $10,000 worth of training for your employees so that they become more productive and you're able to get a grant to cover that cost. And I believe if you're a nonprofit, you can get up to 100% back. If you're a for-profit, you can get up to 83% if it's a existing employee, but if it's a new employee, I believe it's still up to 100%. So this one is really underutilized, I find. So if you have employees that need training, this is great. Or if you want to bring on a new employee and be able to make sure that they're trained properly, this is a great option as well. All right, so this one is for nonprofits. This grant, I think this is for nonprofits as well that are supporting entrepreneurs. Let's see, building trees, planting trees. The My Main Street Community Activator. So the Community Activator one, we're going to touch on later, but also the Business Sustainability one and Resilient Communities. I think that's for nonprofits too. This one's funding to attract direct foreign direct investment. That'd be pretty interesting to read through. And funding for international business development. So if you want to do things, if you want to export to other countries, you're able to get a grant to actually help you do market research, travel to other countries, set up and do market research in those countries. And then, so if you're going to a trade show or if you need a marketing strategy for export, this Can Export one is really good to check out. And again, they do have loan programs here. So as I said, if you're looking for hiring talent and looking for subsidies, play around with it. The link is in the chat. This will allow you to actually find a lot of the federal grants, and it's pretty user friendly. So I'm glad how they put that together. So other grants that we did want to touch on today, we'll start with the Black Opportunity Fund. This one is, it started as, oh, I do see a hand up. Oh, feel free. You can go ahead, Cleone.
You just mentioned that there's a grant to help you travel if you want to go do business overseas.
Yes.
I want to travel. I want to do business in Ghana, and I wanted to know about the money that's available for that, because I have a business partner. I have a business partner that has land and a farm, and we're going to be building. So I want to know what money is available for us and how quickly can we access that money.
Yes, so what I'll do is I'll put the our email address into the chat. So send an email on which grants you're interested in, and then we can go deeper on each one.
Are you going to be this, because I'm watching this on my phone. I'm on my way to Kingston. So I can't see all the grants. Can you Are you going to email us the app, the presentation?
Yes, so the presentation gets emailed afterwards, so you'll have it.
Oh, wonderful, 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 wonderful. Thank you very much.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you. All right, so for this one that we're looking at now, and just a quick check, was there any other questions about the Business Benefits Finder? If there's a specific grant that you're interested in, just I put the email address for our team. Send us an email saying like, hey, I'm interested in this one, and then we can support you with writing it or just giving you more information. So the Black Entrepreneur Program was a partnership with CIBC initially. So CIBC created a Black entrepreneurship loan program. So they do loans up to 250,000, and it can be for equipment, leasehold improvements, or also working capital. One thing that they realized that not everybody had their business plans and cash flow projections ready right away. So they partnered with the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce, the Black Opportunity Fund, to create a grant program that would help entrepreneurs get those things done. So they have, I believe, 6 different programs. So they do help with improving your financial literacy, creating a business plan, creating financial projections, or improving your credit score. So as you go through any of these programs, you're then eligible for up to $2,000 as you're hitting different milestones and different grants. So a lot of times we'll bring it up that like, hey, if you're having trouble going after the loan, you can go for this grant that will help you. But if you don't have any interest in the loan, you can still go through the programming and access the different grants that they have. So what you'd have to do is go to this website, so Elevate Black Business. Actually, let me see if I just click it. Actually, so that link seems odd, but if you go to blackchamber.ca, so I'll put this one in the chat, then you're able to check out the different programs that they have. So as I mentioned, the financial literacy program, the Avro Business Accelerator, the mentoring and the Propel Mastermind. So you're able to sign up through the website directly and then get access to their support. So you don't have to go through the loan side. You can just go to the Black Chamber of Commerce directly and then access their programming there. All right. So the next one that we want to touch on is the BBPA Bates program. And I really like this program because it helps you actually get services done. So as I mentioned before, you can go through the Black Chamber of Commerce and it might take 3 to 6 months for them to guide you through doing your business plan. By going through the Bates program, you're actually able to get a person that will do your business plan for you. And how it works is that they invoice the BBPA directly through the Bates program. So you don't have to come out of pocket for the services that were done. So that way you get an expert to do your business plan. You have it, I would say, a bit quicker. And then you're able to use that business plan to go after additional funding without having to come out of pocket to pay for it to be done. So the Bates program, and I'll put this link into the chat as well. So that way you're able to start the application. When we do our working groups, typically we just pause right here and have people finish this because it only takes, I would say, 2 to 5 minutes. But I'll give this to you as homework. Go to the bades.bbpa.org website and start the process so that you can get into the queue. Because as you can imagine, this is definitely oversubscribed. So it does take them a bit of time to get through all the applications, but they do make their way through. So don't give up. Definitely put your name in. And as I was just scrolling down here, these are the main 3 services that they're able to do. So the accounting and bookkeeping, business planning and budgeting, and legal support that you might need. Pick which one that you want right away, and I would get yourself into the queue so that you get this done for you. All right, so we'll go to the next one. All right, so Summer Company, I'll just touch on it really quick because Summer Company is a program that I'm noticing a lot of our youth are missing. This was something I was able to go through when I was at Sheridan College, And starting detailing nights while I was at school, Summer Company was introduced, and you can get up to $3,000 as a grant to, you're pretty much testing out your business idea in the summer in between school. So those that you know that are under 30 in between school, or it can be, it happens in the summer. So if you know people that fit this and want to test out entrepreneurship, they're able to access this grant. And I'm noticing a lot of us are missing it. So please do spread the word. And then for those that are over 18, the Starter Company Plus grant is done through one of the entrepreneur centers in the cities. So same with Summer Company. So if you're running a business, it's good to connect with the local small business enterprise, small business entrepreneurship centers, because they have, again, a lot of resources. The Brampton location has an actual co-working space that you can go and work out of, but then they also run these grant programs. So Summer Company, if you're under 30 and in school in the summer, you can get 3,000. If you're out of school and over 18, you can get up to $5,000, and they help you with your business plan and they help you get the money. So definitely connect with your local small business enterprise centers. I know Toronto has one. There's one in the Durham region, Mississauga, Brampton. So check to see. It's usually part of the city, like the economic development office in the city. So check with your city to see where's the closest one. Now jumping to Digital Main Street, which is a grant that I typically send people to first, mainly because they have different levels of grants that they have. So you can check which province you're in. And then the one that I typically start with is the Shop Here program, because with Shop Here, if you're starting a business, or even if you already have a business and you want to sell online in a more effective way, the Digital Main Street Shop Here program will actually connect you with somebody that will build your website for free. So they'll build it, whether it's on Shopify. I think people can use Square as well, and allows you to now create e-commerce and sell online, or create a way to book appointments online. I've used it for both. So clients have used it for building a website that sells products, and we've also gotten support with building a website that can book appointments. So even if you already have a website, it's always great to get somebody that's an expert in building websites to just review and maybe improve it a bit. So I always encourage people to sign up for this grant, because they reach out to you usually within 2 to 5 business days, connect you with an expert service provider that can now build your website. And hey, worst case, your website's improved and you're able to sell better. So I always start with this one. And then when they're helping you to put together your website, they also will connect you into their other grant programs. And the other one that they have is the Ontario Grant one. So the Ontario Grant allows you to get up to $2,400 for digital marketing. So now you're building out your website, you can get funding to then improve the marketing for that website. So I like how those two connect. And then from there, of course, you can plug into other things. So I didn't put this into the chat. Let me put this into the chat. The Digital Main Streets Shop Here one. And again, touch base, they do have the Canada Digital Adoption Program, also, although I think it's closing soon. That one, if you do need to improve any digital aspects of your business, so if you need like a POS system, or you want to hire a marketing agency to help with your strategy and execution, you're able to get, I believe that one's $2,400. So Digital Main Street has been running these grants, I feel like, for over 5 years, a good amount of time. So always check in and see what else they have new. And also, if you need vendors, like a person to actually do, or a company to do the work, they have a directory of all the different marketing agencies. It's the most exhaustive list that I've ever seen. So if you're in the market to hire somebody, I would definitely tap into just checking out their vendor list, their vendor directory. Hold on, it's taking some time to load up. I know, because it does have, there's a lot in there. So it might take a while to load up. Let's see, I'll give it 1 more minute. Well, I'll put this link into the chat so you can check out their vendor directory if there's anything specific that you're looking for. So you can see all these different, and one thing as well, if you know somebody that is a marketing agent or runs a marketing agency, it would be good for them to add themselves to this directory so that people can check it out. All right. So I mentioned briefly the Canada Digital Adoption Program. That one is also done through Digital Main Street. I do believe it's coming to an end soon. So if you are looking for help with, again, online marketing, putting together a strategy for digital marketing, I would look at tapping into the Canada Digital Adoption Program. And so the Digital Main Street website that I put in, actually, let me put this direct one. That was not gonna work. You'd be able to sign up for the Canada Digital Adoption Program as well. So if you go to digitalmainstreet.ca. All right, the Summer Jobs Grant, unfortunately, it is closed, but it's something that we should be looking forward to every year. So in the summer, you're able to hire students to work for your business or your organization, and the government gives you a subsidy up to $100,000 of the minimum wage. So these are things, again, as we're trying to grow our businesses, we're usually missing out on these types of programs. So keep Summer Jobs Grant in the back of your mind. It's usually in the fall that it opens, and then it closes by the end of the year. So the end of this year, as we're doing this monthly, we're going to be reminding you, hey, keep an eye out for the Summer Jobs Grant, because it's a way for you to build out, even if it's a student coming in, you need to strengthen the muscle of delegating tasks and working with others and finding ways to make them productive, so that even if you're paying for this person to be on board, they should be generating revenue for you. And the bonus with the Summer Jobs Grant is you're paying somebody to work with you, but then you're going to be reimbursed that cost. So they're getting a great experience, you're getting a team member, and the out-of-pocket cost at the end is net zero. So I do see a question, can the founder be considered an employee and apply for the employee subsidy? Some subsidies, if it's a reimbursement, no, you wouldn't be able to be the owner because it has to be an arm's length person that you're hiring. If it's some of the grants, like the My Main Street one that we're going to talk about next, they say you have to have 1 to 50 employees, but the owner can be considered the employee, so you qualify for the grant. But typically, if you're going through one of the hiring grants and incentives, you wouldn't be able to access it as the owner. But that's where, if the business is incorporated and you're an employee, then you'd have to just check with them to see how much of the business do you own. It gets very technical, but typically no. So short answer, I would say no. If you're the owner, you wouldn't qualify for the hiring subsidies. All right. And so the My Main Street one, I'll touch on next. So this is the grant that we're pushing pretty hard right now for those that do have brick and mortar locations. You'll notice they'll have, oh, actually, I'll go to that in a sec. So they're investing about $15 million into amplifying local main streets. So they identified key main streets in Southern Ontario, and now you're able to get a grant for up to $20,000 through their business sustainability stream. So if you yourself do not own a brick and mortar location, please spread the word to somebody that you know that does, because this is a grant. I believe they said there's going to be about 325 given out. It will be oversubscribed, but if you get your application in early, you have a good chance of getting it, because with these grants, they typically, it goes until the money runs out. So the questions are not difficult. They're just asking you about your business. So you're telling them your story, and then they want to know, can you pretty much prove that you work out of a location? So they ask you for pictures, they ask you for registration documents, they ask you for your lease. Beyond that, the grant is really straightforward. So if you know anybody that has a brick and mortar location, what they can do is first they'll come into this learn here. All right. And I do see a question for the My Main Street. Can we use someone from the organization to help us get the grant sorted? 100%. I would put in our email again, just so that you can send a note. But yes, we offer our services to help people get this application done. We've actually already worked with 21 businesses to get their applications in. So we're very familiar with the application process. Unfortunately, even though it's easy, it's very dense. So I'm noticing a lot of people start it and then like there's 14 questions. It just feels like a lot. So people stop. And then after you finish the PDF application, you have to go back online and finish their online application. So people are busy. So if you feel stuck, that's where please reach out to us so that we can help you get unstuck, because you shouldn't be missing out on $20,000 just because you get stuck the way that the government writes their applications. So yes, please reach out to us. And you do see here, it says that you have to employ between 1 and 50 staff. We did reach out to them. They said the owner does count as one employee. So as long as you're there, even if you're solo, you do qualify. And the grant is closing on March 31st. So please keep that in mind as well. So for the grant, you'd be able to, oh, these are actually what they're supporting you with. So they're helping you with market research. They're helping you get more business opportunities, and they're going to be taking you through a bit of business training. But for eligible expenses. So yes, you're able to purchase equipment. You can help with your leasing costs. You can help with leasehold improvements to the space. You can help with the external improvements, the facade renovations. You can help with getting your own inventory. Again, help with boosting your marketing, or help with additional technology that you can use for the business. With expansion, it's so if you're getting equipment, leasehold improvement, pretty much the same thing. So you can use it to get started. So that's where if you're getting a new location, so that's if it's under a year, you can help with the initial lease costs. If you've already had it for more than a year, you can use the funding to help expand. So they do talk about what they're pretty much how they're evaluating you. So they check your business model. So they're asking you questions, the use of the fund, the goals, the impact on the main street will be a big one, because this is what the money is designed to do. They've unlocked this 15 million so that main streets can have businesses that are progressing. So that's where, when you're answering these questions, and I'll show you what the application form looks like, this is where you want to really focus. Question says initial leasing cost. Does that mean you can use it to get your first location? It is possible, but you do have to have some sort of lease in place. So within now and March 31st, if you don't have a lease in place, you wouldn't be able to show that you have a lease and that you're paying commercial rent. So if you haven't locked in a place and paid, let's say the first and last, it would be difficult to show that you have a location because you're just getting it right now. So keep that in mind. If it's your first location, you have to have it in place and done before you submit, because you do have to submit the lease. So you need to have that done. Going through the business actual application. So again, they ask for a quick business description. They ask for an extended products and services that you do. They want to know about the customer profile. Who's your ideal customer? They want to know about your current staffing. How many staff? What roles are they doing? They want to know about your current financial summary. So what is your financial situation? They want to know what is the main need that you're going to be spending the money on. And then they do ask you to break it down. So between equipment, leasehold improvements, external facade renovations, getting inventory, doing technology upgrades, or boosting your marketing. So they'd want to know the cost, and then they want to know how much of it you're asking from them, and they want to know how much of your own money you're putting in. So it's not mandatory that you have to put in your money. It does look good if you're investing in your business as well. but really this main column here just showing like, hey, I need 10,000 in equipment. It's going to be 10,000 that we're asking from the grant. Now they do want to know if you have the right licenses and permits in place to operate. This is where I was talking about. They want to know your impact on the main street. So I'm going to show you the map where it shows if you're on a designated main street, and then they want to know by giving you money, how is this now going to impact the main street on a broader scale? Beyond that, they want to know how is the money going to help you increase your own productivity? How is it going to help you increase and maintain more jobs for your company? They want to see, is it going to be something innovative that you can use the money for to make your business more innovative? They also want to see that you're going to be sustainable. So how are you using the money to be sustainable? And they want to know, how are you going to measure this and analyze it? And I did see in the chat, lots of work for grants. Yes, it does feel like a lot. And even as I'm going through it, it's like, holy crow, the questions don't stop. They do eventually stop. So don't get stuck by feeling like it's a lot of questions to answer. That's where reaching out to us at minimum so we can get you to the finish line, I would say is a worthwhile investment working through so we're here to make sure that you don't give up. So yes, it sounds like a lot of questions. And I mean, the worst part is this is just step one. So if we go back, after you finish step one, you do have to go to their online portal. So when you go to their online portal, this is where you're asking more questions about the actual business itself. So, and about the person writing the grant. So, are you the owner? Is it like what's the legal name, operating name, business description, business structure? Like what type of ownership do you have? Is it a franchise? So, I believe it cannot be a franchise or a distributorship. It does need to be an independent business. Is it solely online? So they do want you to have a brick and mortar location, business contacts, address, how big the location is, the years at the current location, information of your online presence, a bit more information about the company, year founded, are you charging HST? It doesn't say you have to be charging, because if you're not doing over 30,000, then you don't have to charge HST. So that shouldn't disqualify you if you do not have an HST number. They want to know the primary contact person. Yeah, you what did I say? Self-identify as a person in equity deserving group, your current staffing, current financials, the goals for the funding. So this would be based on what you've put in the application, how much money you're requesting. So you can request less than 20,000 and you can request a max of 20,000. And then from the application, you would put which section you're using the money on. And this is where you would now upload the application form. You need to upload a verification of the name. So your registration documents, if you're incorporated, articles of incorporation, if you're a sole proprietor, your master business license, verification of commercial property taxes. So you do need to either give your commercial property tax bill or a commercial rent or lease agreement. And it must be for the current or past year. So it can't be 2+ years old. And then they want you to take pictures of your location. So pictures outside from the storefront, I guess inside if you want as well. So it says other photos are optional. And then I would subscribe to email updates from them and agree to their terms and conditions and submit. So the online application is pretty straightforward. It's really just about your business information. The PDF application is a bit more intense where you have to actually answer questions. So be prepared. It will take time, but with our support, it does not feel like a lot. Like I mentioned, we've helped 21 people already get theirs in. And really it's because we have the writing side down packed so we can get the answers ready. And then you just have to enter it. So if you are stuck and feel like giving up, please reach out. We are here to support. Can this be used for a food truck? That is a great question. I did not ask them, but I would send them a note to ask. It would depend, are you paying commercial property tax? Because if you're somewhere specific and paying rent, you might be able to upload that, but you would need to show that you're paying property tax. So that would be the only caveat. For the commercial property tax bill, how does that work if your business is a home business paying a lease? So it would have to be a commercial property tax, as it says here. So if you're at home, it would be a residential property tax, so that wouldn't qualify. So you would need, it wouldn't work if you're a home-based business. All right. Okay, so we'll go back. And again, feel free if there's any other additional questions that pop up. I did want to show really quickly about the community activator. So if you are in an area, oh, sorry, actually, before I go to community activator, I did want to show you the interactive map. So weird. I think they moved it. They used to be right on here. Actually, let's see if it's in the applicant guide. And somebody's asking, is this for the Main Street grant? Yes. So we're currently covering the Main Street grant. I do want to show you the interactive map. All right, I did see a question. Right, if it's a home-based business using part of the home, the lease would be a residential lease still. So it wouldn't qualify because you have to be paying a commercial rent. And I have my products at a store that sell other products. I'm renting the spot. Can I apply? Unfortunately, no. So co-working and shared working spaces, if you're working out of it, it did say that it doesn't qualify. But I'll check right here because it did say ineligible businesses. So business operating within shared workspaces, such as hot desks or dedicated, that's where, because you're in a store, you're pretty much purchasing a shelf, but it's not, the brick and mortar isn't your store. It wouldn't qualify. But I would send them a quick note just to say like, hey, I'm working inside of the store, because some people that we helped are salon, like they do hair, but they work inside of a salon. So what happened is they had to get the salon owner to actually do the application because they're the one paying the commercial property tax. So that's where it gets tricky unless, yeah, but I would still follow up with them. I'm trying to find the link for the map. Yes, if you're in a store and you have a lease, I would still apply because you're able to take the pictures of your store. But I'm just saying, be prepared because they might say, since you're not the front facing store, you wouldn't be able to take a picture from the outside about your store. So that's where they'd want to see that picture. But I would still apply and I would send them a note to ask, because again, if it's undersubscribed, they might get flexible. If too many people that have actual brick and mortar front facing to the main street stores, they will probably get they'll get precedence over those that are inside of a store. But we also were asking the question, what about people that are in malls? We haven't heard a response just yet because a mall isn't front facing to the street like the people in the mall. So we're waiting to hear back if that would actually work. I'm not seeing the link to the map. It must be located on Main Street. Here we go. What is considered? Okay, there's the mapping tool. So I would use this tool here. All right. So when you come to this tool and you can follow along and you put your address in, Rutherford Road South. So for Empowered Forex, you'll see it says, so it has to be within 500 meters of a designated main street. So this street, Rutherford Road South, is a designated main street. So you'll get a note here that it qualifies, and then you want to download this data that you're going to upload. So for example, let's see another one. So in Scarborough, where Detailing Nights is, so it says it's 288 meters away, so it does qualify. So you'll see based on these purple streets, you have to be like within a 500 radius of that street. So if you put in your address, then you'll see if you do qualify. All right. So we'll go back to presentation. And again, if you feel stuck, please reach out to us. Let us get you unstuck. Send us an email. Say if you have a brick and mortar or if you're operating a business and want clarity, send us an email. The home-based businesses, I don't believe that qualifies. We'll definitely check and just confirm. But if you're not paying commercial property tax or commercial lease, that's the main thing that they're looking for. All right, question. If you're just starting a brick and mortar, you would not have anything set up, can you still apply? Yes. So if you're just getting started, if you have your lease in place, you would qualify. It's if you don't have a lease in place yet, you do need to upload your lease. So if it's that you've started and you're just trying to get things going, they do, like they say that you're a startup business, you're okay to get like equipment and do some leasehold improvements or do improvements on the outside. So that's fine as long as your lease is in place and you're starting to get it off the ground. If it's you haven't started yet and you don't have an actual lease in place, then you wouldn't be able to qualify because you need to upload that. Let's see, what's the average cost of having you write a grant application, or rather, how is your pricing calculated? Typically, it goes by how complex the grant is. It can be as low as 500 up to 5,000. Like a lot of the federal, very dense grants, those ones are more expensive. Something like this would be closer to the $500 range because it's really an interview with you to understand your business, and then we would write the information needed for the application and understanding what you want to use the money for. So these ones aren't as expensive, and we've been supporting people because it's easier to get these grants if you get all the documents in and you check all the boxes. So we just want to make sure we can work with you to get it done. So if you're interested, I would definitely reach out to us because we can get creative with this. Do we pay for the grant or is that prorated by the government funding? It depends which grant writers you're using. Most of them will charge up front. Sometimes they'll do a percentage. With us, it's usually upfront, and then we work with you as we get the funding. So yes, it's not prorated by the government funding, no. All right. Real quick, if you're running a nonprofit or social enterprise, things to keep in mind. Social finance fund, that one is in process. So if you're looking for investment with your social enterprise, stay tuned. That should be coming online soon. A big grant that just closed was the FFBC Big Ideas Grant. So those decisions will be made this month. We're hoping that it does open again soon within the year. So keep an eye out on that. And for nonprofits, the Ontario Trillium Foundation, I'll open up just to show you some of the grants that they have going. So right now, the expressions of interest are being done for the Youth Opportunities Fund. And they do have, oh, actually, let's go to grant application deadlines. All right, so this capital grant that just closed, the seed grant is due June 26th. The grow is due later. Youth Opportunities Fund. The expressions of interest are open. Hold on. Oh, that's the systems innovation. You want to see the test one. Because I believe the test one, expression of interest. Yes, I see the question. Yeah, prorated was used, right? So we do charge up front. For some grants, we do it by a percentage. So that's where reach out to us. Let us know what you're thinking. If we check all the boxes, then we'll let you know if it's charged up front or we can do a percentage. So yes, send an email to us at connect@empoweredforx.com and we'll be able to walk you through that. This one, yes, April 17th. So if you're running a community program that works with youth and are partnered with youth, I would look out for this Youth Opportunities Fund, and I'll put this link into the chat. I'm a big fan of it because we've gotten it multiple times. So the money is real. Don't discount what you're doing in the community. I would definitely put in these applications. All right, so really quick, I know we're talking about grants, but loans are another option that, depending on what stage you're in, might be a better fit. So keep your eye out for Black entrepreneur loan programs that are done through the major banks. Also, loan programs for those that have maybe not stellar credit, because for the Black entrepreneur programs, they still are looking for 620 to 650 credit score. Some of them, like the Meridian Accelerator Loan, the Alterna loans, the FACE Coalition, it goes about 600. Below 600, now you're looking at like ACBN, our microloan, the Access Community Capital Fund, or Rise Asset Development. So the reason that I bring up loans is because grants, the timelines are very difficult to work with, especially if you're running a business. So you do want to look at loans if you need an injection of capital a bit quicker. And if you can create a plan, a strategy to use that money to increase sales, then you're able to use that increased sales to pay the loan. So it really works in your favor because you get money quicker and the business grows and you're able to pay back the loan. But just to keep that in mind, and of course, we do help you with that. As I mentioned, we have our grant writing. So if this becomes and feels overwhelming, remember that we are here to get you unstuck. And a lot of times, the initial cost of grant writing might turn people off because they're like, oh, I'm not positive if I'm going to get the grant. That's where start with this. You're doing the info session, take in the information, take notes, review the slides, maybe sign up for Grant Hunter University. That's only $297. You then have access to all these videos that will teach you how to do it yourself. If it's just too much to do, we're here to support and write it for you. But I always say start out with what you're doing, because when you start out on your own, it costs less to get support. If you're asking a person to do it from scratch and say, like, I don't have time, just do it, it's going to be more expensive. So attempt it and then ask for a review and we can help you get it better. But for this grant, again, if you want us to do it, it's around 500. We are working with some organizations that might not have the 500, but we're working with them to do a percentage because the total cost is usually around 10 to 15%. So we can get creative. So send us an email and let us know your situation. If you don't have that kind of money, join the working group. It's only $75. We go through every single question step by step to help you get it done and written, and then so that you can go in and do the application. So this is one of the best options. Again, if money is tight, join us here so that we can walk you through and you can ask all the questions that you need. The next session is this Thursday at 6:30. So let me put that link into the chat. That way, it'll allow you to get the support that you need. If you can't afford somebody just to write it for you, this is the next best thing. Right. Oh, and then the community activator one. So this is more so for nonprofits that want to do or if you're a community organization, I don't think you have to be fully registered, but if you want to do an activation on a main street, we're going to be doing the working group on this one from March the 20th. That's next week, Wednesday. So keep an eye out for this one as well, if you're interested in doing a project in your city. All right. And we did mention the Youth Opportunities Fund. If you're looking and interested in doing that application, I'll put this link into the chat as well. Let me make sure I get it properly. Yes. So this working group will walk you through the process of doing the Youth Opportunities Fund grants. Oh, right. All right. And as I mentioned briefly, if you want to learn it yourself, Grant Hunter University is a great option. Again, a grant writer could be cost prohibitive, but doing the university allows you to learn. It's pretty much everything that I know and our team knows in an online course, so that you can go at your own pace and really learn how to write grants yourself, create your own blueprint, and then be able to use that for all the different grants that you find. That option is also here. So I would say email us if you're interested, because I don't think it clicks. All right. And again, here are some of the options for having a grant written for you. As was asked in the chat, it can range from $1,500 for those types of community grants, like the My Main Street falls into that. If it's a larger grant, it goes much higher because it takes a lot more effort, and it depends how big your organization is. But I always say start out doing it yourself and then request help after. All right. And again, a breakdown of what grants could cost. If you're doing a hiring grant, about 500 to 1,000. If you're doing just a review, that's where, it's a lot cheaper, 300. So that's why I say start it yourself and then work with somebody after. But our program, we actually work with you for 90 days and you put down a retainer and we become that fund development team in your organization or in your business, so that somebody is always actively looking for grants out there and writing them for you. This is where, if you just want a team division to do it for you, this is one of the best options. All right. And as I mentioned, let me see if I click here, I'll get this link for you. So if you do have questions, feel free to fill out this form. And then that'll trigger a phone call with our team, or you can scan it. Question, is that the Fed fund? Is that the federal grant with the 15% contingency? No, I'd have to see which grant. The My Main Street one, I know we've done contingency for that one, and where we have one of your team members on retainer. No, the retainer is just a straight payment for services. So the federal grants, yeah, those ones, we become your grant writer and we would pay, it's like copywriting fee. Hope that answers the question. All right. Well, again, I apologize. I know we're over time. So if there's any additional questions, now is the best time. Otherwise, enjoy your afternoon and looking forward to seeing your grants get in.